Hi everyone. Okay, so we're going to look at, well, as you can see from here, adding and subtracting fractions where we've got the same denominator. Okay, there's going to be a short series of videos here. I'm doing them as separate videos so it's not too overwhelming and too much to do all at once. This is quite a nice one, the same denominator. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 different questions. So take a few notes. I think you should be quite happy with these though, because we've definitely done them before. So I'm starting off with a fifth plus 2/5. Okay, so we've got the same denominator. So we like to call it a common denominator. Okay, so what that means, now I know I might be preaching to the choir because you guys, I'm fairly certain are quite happy with this, but I want to make sure you really understand it, because if you really understand this, all the other stuff we're going to do is going to be so much easier. Okay, so I'm just going to draw it just below here. So a fifth, I'm going to draw like a bar, and these are sketches. I am, as you all know, not particularly good at drawing. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll split that up into 5, and I'm looking at 1/5 of it. I'm just going to colour it in there, just shading that in. And so that's 1/5. And below that, I'm going to draw a bar the exact same size, also split into fifths. Okay, and I'm going to put the 2/5 on in just a moment. But the first thing to notice here, okay, the number on the bottom, our denominator, all that means is what we're splitting a whole one into. So in this case, our whole one is the bar I've drawn, okay, and we're splitting it into 5 equal sized pieces. And that's nice here because they're both being split into the same number of pieces. That's really important to know. So denominator is telling us how many pieces we're splitting the whole one into. So I could have just as easily drawn a circle and split that into 5 equal sized pieces. Okay, you could use all sorts of things, but they have to be equal sized pieces. Okay, that's really important. So we wouldn't have had something like this if I'd have done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not right. Okay, they need to be the same. Okay, so that aside, okay, so here we've got 1/5, and we want to add 2/5. So let me just grab another colour. I'm going to put, now it doesn't really matter, I could have put the 1/5 up here. I could have coloured in this square instead, just as long as it's one of them. So for the purposes of this kind of diagram, my 2/5, I'm not going to colour in the first one, I'm going to colour in the next two. I'm going to just do them a different colour just so they stand out a bit. The reason is, maybe you can see now, if we were to put these together, and that's why I've drawn them above each other, we'd be able to see that this one would fit in here perfectly. That. So if we've added that 1/5 to these 2/5, altogether we've got 3/5. Okay, 1/5 add 2/5 is 3/5. I quite like looking at this in the way that you could almost consider it a bit like a variable. For example, 1 apple add 2 apples is 3 apples. Okay, 1/5 add 2 more fifths is 3/5. So that little picture is just to kind of demonstrate what's going on there. In your assignment, I will give you a link to a website where you can actually practice doing these online. It's amazing. It's so good. And they're called like mathematical manipulatives. It means you can manipulate them, move things around, and it draws these kind of bars up for you. You can colour them in on the screen. They're really, really useful. And I think they've got an app, so even better. I've not tried that out yet, but on the web browser, it's fantastic. Okay, so a couple more of these. Let's just try them out. Number 2, we're going to do 7/10. So this time my one whole shape has been split into 10 pieces. Add 2/10. I'm not going to draw the pictures this time. I just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on. So we're still in tenths, but if I've got 7/10 and I'm adding 2 more tenths, then I should have 9/10 altogether. Okay, the third one, a little bit different this time, and this is just to show that these all work in the same way. So not just addition, but subtraction. If I've got 6/7, so 7, something broken up into 7 pieces, and I'm looking at 6 of them, and I'm taking away 2 of them, 2/7, then I should be left with 4/7. Okay, please try this out on the website I'm going to send you the link to. It's lovely and clear. And the last one, and again, another one that's slightly different, up a bit, 6/11ths, so number 4, 6/11ths, add 7/11ths. Now people see these and they sometimes panic a bit. But we've got 6/11ths and we're adding 7 more 11ths. Okay, so altogether we should have 13/11ths. Don't panic because that's top heavy. Okay, we call it an improper fraction because the top's bigger than the bottom, but that's absolutely fine. We've got 13/11ths. Now I know some of you are quite skilled at converting this into a mixed number. I'm just going to show you how to do that. I don't necessarily want you to do that all the time, but it's really useful to see what's going on. We must remember how many 11ths are in a whole 1. So if we consider our bar, 11 11ths make up the whole 1. So what we've got here is 11 11ths, which is our whole 1, plus 2 11ths. We've got 2 more to make up the 13, haven't we? So plus 2 11ths. Okay, it's the same as that, isn't it? 13 11ths is 11 11ths, add 2 11ths. But we know 11 11ths is the same as 1. So we can just call it 1, add 2 11ths. But we're quite lazy in maths, we just tend to write 1 and 2 11ths, a bit like that. Okay, and you'll have seen this before, we call it a mixed number. Something that I did not learn until a couple of years ago, and I've probably told you this before because it just amazes me every time I think about it. And in fact, somebody else, another teacher who I know, told me about this the other day. They were equally astounded. They just never clicked about this. But I'm just going to do it in a bit of a side over here, really. Our division symbol, this sign here, that we've been seeing probably since primary school, to make them a bit clearer, there we are. Our division sign is actually a fraction with placeholders here for numbers, because that's all these are. These are divisions, okay? And that's why that is 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1. 11 goes into 11 one time. So that is just a little bit of fun information that still amazes me. I think it's really, really cool. Right, okay, so that's stage 1. I'm going to send a couple more videos on what happens when we've got different denominators, okay? So check those ones out as well. Thank you.